Charles VI, often referred to as Charles the Mad, ruled France from 1380 to 1422. His reign is infamous not for military victories or territorial expansions, but for his gradual and tragic descent into insanity. The story of Charles VI is one of a once promising young king who became a symbol of the political and social chaos that plagued France during his rule. Early reign, the promise of a bright future. Charles VI became king at the tender age of 11, following the death of his father, Charles V. His early reign was marked by a period of regency, where his uncles governed the kingdom. Despite internal power struggles among his family members, Charles was seen as a bright and capable young monarch when he assumed full power in 1388 at the age of 20. His early decisions were sound, and he earned the nickname Charles the Beloved for his efforts to restore order and manage the kingdom effectively. The first signs of madness. Tragically, Charles VI's mental health began to deteriorate just a few years into his personal rule. The first major sign of his madness occurred in 1392 during what is now called the Bal des Ardents, Ball of the Burning Men. This event was a disaster in which Charles, dressed as a wild man for a masquerade ball, nearly perished when a torch accidentally set fire to his costume. Although he survived the incident, it seemed to trigger an irreversible decline in his mental state. The most significant turning point came later that year during a military expedition. While traveling to Brittany, Charles VI suddenly flew into a violent frenzy. He attacked his own knights, believing that the traitors plotting against him. After this outburst, he experienced periods of confusion, delirium, and hallucinations, with increasing frequency. Symptoms of madness. Over time, Charles V's mental condition worsened. He became prone to long bouts of amnesia, forgetting that he was king, his wife, and even his own children. He believed that he was made of glass, a delusion now referred to as the glass delusion, and took extreme precautions to prevent shattering, often wrapping himself in blankets or refusing to be touched. He would sometimes wander through the halls of his palace, howling like a wolf, or remain catatonic, staring blankly for days. At times, he failed to recognize his own identity and would hide from his own family, believing them to be enemies. His unpredictable behavior made it difficult for the court to function, and political instability grew as factions vied for control of the throne. France in chaos. Charles VI's mental instability had a disastrous impact on the French kingdom. The country was already struggling with the aftermath of the 100 Years' War with England, economic hardship, and internal divisions. Charles's condition exacerbated the power struggles between different factions at court, most notably between his brother, Louis, Duke of Orleans, and his cousin, John the Fearless, Duke of Burgundy. These rivalries eventually led to the Armagnac-Burgundian Civil War, which plunged France into further turmoil. As the king's madness deepened, France essentially became a country without a stable ruler. His wife, Queen Isabeau of Bavaria, attempted to manage the situation, but her regency was fraught with accusations of incompetence and infidelity. With the king incapacitated, various nobles and relatives tried to claim power, further fragmenting the kingdom. Charles VI's legacy. Charles VI lived for many more years after his descent into madness, but he was king in name only. His son, Charles VII, eventually took over after his death in 1422, but the damage to the French monarchy and the country itself was profound. The loss of Normandy to the English and the rise of Joan of Arc as a symbol of French resistance came in the aftermath of Charles VI's reign. Charles VI's tragic life has left an indelible mark on history. His descent into madness was not just a personal tragedy, but also a political catastrophe for France, contributing to decades of civil war, economic collapse, and foreign invasion. In the end, Charles V's reign serves as a reminder of the fragile nature of power and the devastating impact that mental illness can have, not only on individuals, but on entire nations. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, share, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the most interesting stories.